All right, everybody. Welcome to the SquadOps podcast, Four Ops, One Couch. This is the second episode, I believe. Technically the third, but we're going with number two. Um, give you a couple little announcements before we start. This week, actually tomorrow, we have Operation Nitro. So if anybody feels like hopping in and enjoying some good fun on Cora, should be a good time. It'll be US versus INS featuring the Ranger team, which I believe they've got some new, fun, cool things worked out, like NVGs and other stuff. I'm not sure if they'll be showcased in this particular one, but if they are, they'll be there. But either way, you guys should have a good time with the Ranger kits and other things. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, hop into squadops.gg, our website. Jamie, if you could post that link, I'd appreciate it. Sign up, and we'll see you guys there. Later this week on Sunday, we have a mech class. So if you guys are interested in checking out mechanized infantry, just gives you guys a basic knowledge and understanding of the use and applications of armored vehicles. Teaches you guys a good team-based standard operating procedure involving their deployment. So it's practical application, some lecturing, but it really gives you a good understanding of how the vehicles are utilized in the game Squad, as well as in other games that feature vehicles. And then on Wednesday, we have Valley of Geysers. It's one of my, I wouldn't say favorite ops, but it's one of the better ones that I played recently. It's on Fool's Road. It's US versus militia. I'm sorry, US versus Russia, and it should be a good time. So again, that one's on Wednesday. All those can be found again on the squadops.gg website. Go check them out. I don't think there are any other announcements to make unless I'm missing something. Let me check the events tab. Oh, we got Among Us right now. So if you guys are interested in playing a little Among Us, you guys should check that out. That should be a really good time. And we'll probably have a couple more additional events throughout the week as guys start posting things up. So check it out, enjoy it, and you guys will have a good time. Tonight we have our special guest tonight is LawnDartz, one of the chief content creators around these parts. He's done some really fantastic things for us, basically giving everything from our basic videos to the intro stuff for Bellum. Massive fan of Squad Ops and all things Squad Ops related. Lon, how many hours do you have in Squad at this point? Something like 20,000 or 30,000 or 50,000, or how many hours are we at?
Not quite. And hello, everyone. Yeah, not quite that number, but I actually just checked. 13,200.
There you go. So he's been playing this game for a long time, since its inception. He's been a wonderful key member of our admin staff, as well as our media team. It's been a good friend to everybody here, and we appreciate all the time and effort he puts into everything he does here. So he's going to tell us a little bit about himself, a little bit about the content that he creates, and overall just kind of the things that we love and enjoy about him, and go from there. So again, joining us tonight, we've got Frost, we have Fire Over Lore, we have Aussie Wookie. Thank you guys for coming out, and then myself, Captain Morgan. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these. We're going to continue to do these about every other week, and we'll try and get some notice out to everyone to let you guys know that, hey, we're doing these more often, and we'll go from there. Also, again, tonight, if you guys are interested in posting questions to either myself or to any of our co-hosts or to LawnDartz, you can drop them in the Twitch chat. Feel free to drop them there. You can also drop them in the YouTube Twitch chat. I have both of those up and currently running. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, things you want to hear about, please let us know. I actually think we had our first commenter last week from YouTube, which is pretty cool. So do we have a confirmation on who we're doing next week? Have we heard from anybody yet, or no? Take that as a no. So we'll get that out to you guys as soon as we can, and we'll go from there. Culper, Harmless, Mystic, did I miss anything? We good there for the announcements?
Yep, sounds good.
Nothing heard. All right. We'll just kind of roll into it. Apologies if I'm a little froggy or if I just kind of get tired. I'm fighting off well, I had the flu, taking some medication for it, so I'm getting over it. If I, you know, nod off at some point during the during the interview, or if I get up, go throw up or something, just have a little understanding and a little patience for me. Frost has no excuse. His is just lack of sleep due to being a father and all that weird stuff. But
That's fair. That's fair.
a- anyway, um, anything you guys want to say to the crowd? Fire, Frost, Ozzy, anything at all?
Roll on,
Have a
brother.
drink.
All
Yeah,
right, fair enough.
I'm really
Get on
excited to
with
hear
it.
about LawnDartz and about all the things he's done for us, as well as some other communities and games.
I
Perfect.
apologize for no drinking game this week. I don't have my phone, so
That's okay. All right, so without further ado, well, let's introduce again for the second time, our special guest, LawnDartz. Thank you again for coming, Lawn. We know you're a busy guy. You've got a lot of fun, cool things you're dealing with all the time, and you'd probably like to be playing on the server or creating your new latest video or whatever the case may be. So we thank you for taking a little time for us to sit down and chat and just talk to us. Um, feel free to say anything you'd like, Lon. I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
Yeah.
I just muted up to cough. So hopefully that didn't make it through.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just I think when you muted, your screen popped up on the right side for me as the current speaker. So no worries. Lon, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us kind of a little of your history. How you got started in SquadOps, what led you to kind of where you're at now, and we know that you're Australian, but you live in the States now. If I'm not incorrect, and give us a little info.
Yeah, I'm in the fine
Removed him
state
from the
of
Signal group chat.
the fine state of Louisiana. Yeah, I suppose with SquadOps, my involvement goes back to 2017, and I saw a Operator Drewski video on YouTube, and it was about Squad, and that got me interested in the game. And then soon thereafter, I came across one of Kamakut's videos with one of the on-life events, and I really liked the the cinematic sort of nature of it all. It looked like sort of like a combination of sort of Monday Night Football and sort of MASH. So I signed up here in 2017, and was very much taken in by one of the key sort of things that we were trying to achieve, which wasn't necessarily about being the best, being competitive or too competitive, but more focused on the cinematic side of things. So that's sort of what started my involvement back in 2017, and then the first team I joined here was SOTT. So we did a lot of teaching of basic and various other courses. Back then we were doing 3 basics a week. So it was, you got a lot of practice doing that course. And, there's a lot of people coming through to play in the One Life events. Fast forward a little bit to probably towards the end of 2020, I upgraded my rig, which I hadn't done for like 10 years. And it was when the 30 series GPUs came out. And so I suddenly found I had this ability to play and actually record things at the same time. So that's sort of what started to get me interested then in, okay, well, maybe I can put some videos together. But what I was really interested in wasn't really necessarily sort of a style of video that captures, my prowess as someone who's playing the game, but more from a storytelling point of view, cinematic point of view, etc. So yeah, I started putting together some very early sort of versions of my work to some music eventually, and then over time got a little better at it. Huge learning curve because a lot of the software that you use to do such things I didn't really have any knowledge of. So sort of every step of the way I had to go and teach myself a whole bunch of stuff. So that's about 4 years ago now. So sort of fast forwarding a little bit to more recent history. I now am lucky enough to occasionally get a paid gig to actually make a video for someone. And the most recent one that I'd like to highlight is for a game called Bellum. Bellum is a first-person tactical shooter that's in development, being built by a studio called Start Industries, and the head of that studio is someone we all know, obviously from SquadOps. It's Kamakut. One of the comments I saw actually cracked me up, and I know Karma doesn't necessarily like it, but he was referred to by one particular person as, Milsim Jesus. and he's here to save us type sort of thing. So that's sort of the hope with Bellum, and my involvement started back in July last year, where I was asked to help get the announcement trailer done. I wasn't, as it turned out, the first pick. The first pick had gotten sick and wasn't able to sort of complete the project. So when I sort of came into it, I had 2 weeks, with the aim being sort of to be releasing it sort of close to just after the 4th of July. Anyway, there was a lot of changes in things and um, iterations on even the things that were in the game. And so that extended out then through to August. So it became sort of an 8-week project with the deadline just once in a while being sort of punted 2 weeks, then another 2 weeks. But we finally launched it in August, this particular announcement trailer. And I remember we were all sitting in one of the Discord channels at Start Industries, about 25 people, when this sort of went live. And it was really quite exciting to see the just the numbers rack up on the views and the newly created Discord, the people who started joining, etc. It was a hugely successful announcement trailer, like somewhere up in the vicinity of 750,000 views. That was great, and so that particular trailer, I think we might play it in a short while and sort of maybe show it, and then maybe you guys can ask me some questions about what you see in it.
Yeah, if you want to queue it up now, that'd be good. We can watch it and we can pick your brain on some questions that we might have.
I
Yeah,
think
for sure, man.
yeah, I think Jamie has it ready to go on his end for that one.
Mhm.
Jamie, pull it up.
Pull it up. Yes,
That would be very useful.
the entity that is Jamie.
Well, while we're waiting, so Lon, did you ever have professional, like, videography, like, courses or anything, or were you complete a hobbyist and you just started as an amateur? And
Yeah, self-taught with that. Although my background going back to the mid-90s was building websites, so not completely out of my depth with using software and graphics, but that was more sort of tiny GIFs that you were looking to optimize and just still sort of imagery. So some of the concepts there do transfer across to video editing, but video editing's a completely different animal because just stuff's moving for starters. So a lot of software that I had to teach myself. A lot of software, things like Blender, Unreal Engine, DaVinci Resolve, which is what I use for all my sort of post-production actual editing, as well as even just simple things like GIMP, just basic sort of photo editing sort of software. You've got to teach yourself how to use it to do certain things. And then there's all the techniques and tricks, the movie magic, and then that's completely aside. So all that technical stuff from the creative part of it, like sort of like learning about maybe where to place the cameras, what sort of composition you should be going for, all that sort of stuff, which is sort of the fun bit, really. So normally, what would happen, I'd have an idea, and then I'd struggle obviously technically to be able to do it, and I would just hammer away at it and keep on learning new things until I got close, and then I would chuck it out and start again. So a lot of my videos do take a long time because I suppose I'm pushing the envelope of what I can do, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and so I don't really want to release something unless I'm sort of happy. It's not to say that the end result's perfect. There's always plenty of things that when I watch them back that I do over, but I suppose, that sort of iteration is actually really where I think some of the quality comes from, is the fact that, say for Bellum, which you're about to see, there was 53 process renders. So those are like 53, sort of renders of sort of, in quotes, the final thing in order to get to the final thing. And that doesn't include any of the setting up of the shots, etc., and some of the technical stuff that I can go into after maybe we watch the video.
that's
Gotcha.
honestly astounding. I mean, I've watched your videos numerous times. I think this man must do this professionally, which I guess you are now. But that blows me away.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
thanks,
for
mate.
sure. I've definitely watched the videos in the past, and I'm just like, oh my god, like what? Like some of the some of the squad ops one life events we've done. Lawn has posted some clips, and I watched him, and I'm just like, oh my god, like his graphics are insane. Like it's incredible. Like the things he does, I love it. That's why I'm happy he's on here with us this weekend. But let's watch the video. Let's see what Lon's got for us here.
6, this is 1-6. Pushing to BPs, over.
Roger that, 1-6. Report when established.
One Alpha. We're setting up BP West now. 1 Alpha, roger. 1-2, you're released. Six, 1-2, we're set in 30 seconds.
Net call, slate on target. Power 0-0, over.
Hey, check the back. Yeah, I got it. This is 1-6. Conditions set.
Roger 1-6. You're our go to execute assault.
1-6-1-3. Eagles moving to breach. This is 1-8. ISR's got a shooter pushing the breach. 1-3 Alpha, we have him. Crash white side, crash white side! 2 look alive, got a 6, push the door on 6. Let's go, pick it up, pick it up!
Yeah, so just to give that context, I suppose, it's an announcement trailer. So at that stage, they'd obviously been building the game, but it's not in a state to play. They weren't announcing it in order to get, crowdsourcing or GoFundMes or anything like that. It was just purely an announcement sort of trailer to sort of build hype. So, it was interesting, some of the feedback, actually, because I suppose it's a jaded marketplace and people have high expectations, but a lot of people were like, oh, that's all just cutscene rubbish. This game's destined to fail, all those sorts of, haters out there. But what was hard from my perspective was I'm under an NDA, so there's only certain things I can discuss, and then B, you obviously never want to feed the haters. But they were wrong. There was actually a lot of actual gameplay capture in that as well. It's about 50-50 in all those sort of different scenes and cuts that make up that trailer. It's about 50-50 between actual gameplay and what was actually done, if you like, sort of in-engine with rendering it in-engine. They've actually just released a follow-up video only about a month ago, which actually has all the gameplay, actual footage in it, and sort of goes into a lot of depth when it comes to the game mechanics. So I can definitely discuss some of that if anyone's interested to hear that as well. But I'm curious, guys, after saying that, if there's any questions you have of me about it, in any aspect.
Well, a couple of questions I had. I'll do one, and then I'll let everybody else get a chance down the line. When you're doing some of those shots, you're seeing that slow pan and some of those kind of motions where you're zooming the camera in and out, and sometimes it looks like the image is still, but the camera's moving. Is that mostly filmography that you're doing with admin cam, for lack of a better term, or are you doing some of that in post? You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking for.
Post effects, editing.
Post effects, editing. There you go. Thank you.
Post production. Yeah, good question. So good eye to notice that. They're known as sort of Dutch angles, and
Gotcha.
answers your question is pretty much sort of yes to all of those. So one of the cool things that they did for me over there, they actually built me my own sort of custom admin cam. and I got to sort of have certain controls on it that I specified, and one of those was the ability to rotate the actual
Nice.
camera, etc., as well as change depth of field, so you get that nice sort of things are blurred in the background or on the foreground, vice versa. So that was great. That I had that sort of level of. I mean, that's dream come true, right? Like something like Squad, I just don't have that level of access to the developers of Squad, so you sort of use what you get.
Yeah.
The other way of doing it's in the SDK in Unreal Engine. So Bellum's a game that's also in Unreal Engine, so it's the same sort of thing. So yes, for those I would, if you like, animate the camera so it's tilting, and normally from about 3 to 4 degrees left through to about 3 to 4 degrees right. And the idea of a Dutch angle is sort of to build a little bit of tension and interest. So hopefully it wasn't too distracting, but really good eye and great question.
Gotcha. It's interesting. Are you more likely to, say as future games develop, are you going to be more interested in those games that give you access to those features so that you can produce more compelling or unique filmography of them, or are you going to? I mean, not purely just that, but is that something that you're kind of weighing as you're looking at some of the new titles that are hitting? That makes sense. I don't know if my question makes sense. Again, I
I
maybe
think
a little
so.
fever rattled.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll try resaying back. Am I interested in doing a lot of commercial work for new games? I mean, yeah. I mean, if the price is right, like I'm not going to lie. But I suppose what I'm really interested in is the creative aspect, and perfect world. I would get paid and get to be as creative as I want, but you end up then with actual deadlines and things. So there's a lot of stress and compromise and all those sorts of things in any commercial job. So I think part of your question is, would I just want the actual access to the underlying software? Yeah, because then I can go do what I want, and I'm my own boss, and I can take forever to do something, or do it 50 times if need be, without sort of the pressure of deadlines. And then I suppose the disadvantage of that is, then I don't have any deadlines, so things take forever. But yeah, that creative sort of thing is, I suppose, what I enjoy more so than the money and the pressure that comes with it. Yeah.
It's fair and reason. What other questions do you guys have? I've got a million, but I don't want to pile this time. So.
Go ahead, Aussie.
I mean, I'm a little bit delayed because I'm from down under. You're using Unreal 5, yeah?
Bellum is in Unreal 5, yes. Squad, I think it's announced now that they're coming out with Unreal 5, so I think that's known. Hopefully, otherwise, oops. But it was on 4. It was on 4.23 for ages, and then I'm going to say 2 years ago they upgraded to 4.27, which sounds such trivial minor things, but to me as a cinematographer, 4.27 had all these other like cool camera controls and camera things and rendering pipelines that you could use. So that was sort of huge. But yeah, that's Unreal Engine, and it's a vast piece of software. Obviously used to make games, but it's also actually used now in a lot of even movie post production. Like they'll use it for sort of set backdrops and things like that with actors in front of it. Those sorts of setups.
For CGI green screen kind of thing.
Yeah, real time sort of TV broadcasting sort of sets. All that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of uses.
Do you prefer shooting with like the Unreal 5 like SDK, or like when you were talking to the dudes at Bellum, you're like, look, if you just make these tools, I can do all the marketing from here on out? Or is it like a little balance where you do like 50-50?
It was scary, right? Because when I'm using the Squad SDK, I've got my own version of it, and I can break it and just download a new one. There's no blood, no foul. But for this, I'm like literally in there with the actual source code that's running the game that they're building, right? And there was the odd, build that sort of broke, and it's like, Lawn, why has it got your name on this error report? And I'm like, oh shit, like I've cost the team a day or something. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I mean, it was sort of, I had to learn Unreal Engine 5, which is obviously a variation and a theme coming from Unreal Engine 4, but the other added pressure was, like it's not the same. There's a lot of different things. Plus, this is like a real sort of live production environment, and I was frightened about clicking certain buttons. So yeah, and to their credit, and Cly, who was one of their, I suppose, their mentors over there for me, he helped me through a lot of those things, and then helped me also, fix up a few boo boos that may have happened as a result of my clicking the wrong thing.
Groovy.
Yeah. So, excuse me. So my question was, so I know we've all played a bunch of Arma, we played a bunch of Squad, we played with Chroma Cut. So we see Bellum is kind of like a fusion of the two. Do you have an idea of when Bellum will be on the market?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely not something I'm allowed to talk about for the MDA. That last bit, I mean, yes, coming soon, obviously. But in terms of the first part of your question, the style of game, I suppose, I'm not really, here to market it. I suppose the video is marketing it, but it's not really,
Yeah.
my thing to
Yeah.
be out there sort of championing it. But as someone who games and who has a ridiculous number of hours in a game like Squad, it's obviously in the same genre, And if you're playing Arma, then anyone out there listening, similar genre. But yeah, a lot of the issues, I suppose, that maybe come with Squad or maybe Arma or newer titles like Grey Zone, etc., etc., etc. That's sort of where this game's aimed at, sort of like really filling the niche that those sort of
Yep.
hardcore fans out there are looking for. And I believe it, not just because Karma Cut's sort of involved, but there's a whole lot of other people there in the project, and they're working as part of the team at Astarta Industries, and they all have the same sort of um, sense of jadedness of what's currently out there, and really a pretty much a laser focus on what they think's missing. Some of the things that I can maybe allude to that are known, even just like there's no mini map in the game, right? There's no mini map
Little
that sort of opens up,
pad
lights up
thing.
it. Yeah, it's a little watch
Okay.
that you
Interesting.
sort of look
Okay.
at, or it's an ATAC that you're flipping out. So you know, a lot of decisions that have been made with the gameplay, etc. Really, along the same lines as that, where they're looking to sort of make it sort of as immersive as possible. So get rid of this sort of the gamey features. Now, as to the actual gunplay and all that sort of stuff, that's still a work in progress. But the aim is to make it as in air quotes realistic as possible. Now, do I think that's going to be like the Squad ICO? I hope not. I hope not, and I doubt it. Right?
I
Um,
think we all do.
yeah, but
I like it. I like the update. Everybody hated it. I'm like, this rules.
what's
I'm
wrong
that
with
one
you?
oddball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
fine until you have to
Freak
hit
out.
an AT4 shot on a moving.
Yeah, it's 1 out of
Ooh,
500.
okay, no.
Okay.
Is that the Australian ping? I mean, it just balances out
Well,
the
that's
Australian ping.
yeah.
Maybe.
That's for me. I'm just like, yeah. I pulled it out at the beginning of the match, and then I ran 300 feet, and then the weapon came out. It's like, oh, sweet, perfect. Good to go.
But yeah, I mean, there's high hopes for the game, and the final form of it obviously is yet to be fully revealed. But yeah, a lot of people really really involved in it. Indeed, in the trailer, like some of the credit actually I should give to the guy who did the sound and the guy who did the background music. They're in the description on that video, Andre and Kios, because that's that's a huge part of the final result. The audio. So they did an awesome job with that. And also Karma himself, actually, a lot of input. It was cool actually working with him, pretty much on a daily basis there towards the end to get this thing done. He's real specific. Maybe chop a frame here, add a frame over there, do this.
Flag on the backpack.
Yeah, a lot of meticulous sort of attention to just the video, and the same type of meticulous attention is going into every aspect of Bellum. So I think it's going to be good, and I think it's going to be successful for the niche. Now, if it's commercially successful, hopefully, because it means more games like that will be made then, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can we change the
Yeah.
flag? I don't know if you know, but I probably wouldn't be running around with an American flag on my back.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, the Rangers. Yeah, so that's the Rangers. There's Russians, and then there's sort of the rebels. Those are the sort of three factions, and I believe that all that kit on the Rangers it's the best to the best of everyone's ability at that stage when the video was done. I'm sure it's actually changed since. Was based upon sort of feedback from actual advisors who had been in the ranges. So I assume if that flag's there, then it would be. But I tell you, from a
Well,
cinematic point of view, I obviously you picked it out. Yet there was a focus on that. You know, yeah.
Well, I just want to change it when I'm playing because I don't want to wear that flag. That's my mind.
I'm
All
not
right.
sure about those
So-
sorts of customizations. Probably not, but maybe. Yeah.
Damn it.
What other things do you enjoy doing besides developing these fantastic videos? Are there other things that you enjoy doing in your time off, stuff like that?
I got a cattle dog. She's named Sydney, and she's turning 10 this year. So anyone who's ever had a cattle dog knows they're pretty active, and she's crossed with a collie, so she's very active and smart. So a lot of my spare time is trying to tie her out so that she doesn't cause mayhem. And then I mean really recently, probably in the last 2.5, 3 months, so I've gotten into sim racing. So I've built myself a sim rig, and I've got a steering wheel, and I'm out there trying to improve my lap times, and really currently what I'm trying to actually do is just deal with my road rage that comes as a result of
Gotcha.
playing those style of games. Like in
Makes
Squad, I can
sense,
just turn
makes
around and
sense.
blow you up. There you go. I feel better now. You can't do that in those sorts of games. But those are probably my hobbies at the moment. My dog.
Yeah,
and
I know you showed me
racing.
some pictures of your chicken coop. You still got chickens?
Not at the moment, but I'm looking to once spring rolls around. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, we got crazy story. Yeah, we had to get rid of our chickens. Was it like 4 months ago? Because our neighbor complained because he had a rooster and all the other hens like flew over our fence into our neighbor's yard and stuff. And we got rid of all the chickens except one. And this one's hard to catch. My wife and I tried tonight for the first time in 4 months to catch her, and I mean, it's just impossible to catch her. I don't know how to do it. We tried
Pellet gun.
traps, we tried a rake, tried all kinds of things. The only thing the only thing left to try is a shotgun because a BB gun didn't do it, and I just can't shoot a shotgun in the middle of town. I wish I could because that would take care of it, you know. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think chickens are awesome. They give you eggs, give you all kinds of good stuff. But this one here, it's not it. If you want to come to my house
You're
and
not
catch it, please let me know. DM me.
Frost isn't a fan of this chicken. Got it.
If it survives the
Just
shotgun,
this single one. It's just one.
if it survives the chicken, Darwinism wants that chicken to survive. That's it's like all right.
I got a picture of the chicken coop. I'll see if I can get it up on my video placement here. All right, I might have to edit the
Dude, yeah.
size of it here.
If you can show it on stream, yeah, that looks awesome. Oh,
Can I move?
That was a
That's
cool chicken
great.
coop.
yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of built in a Disney fashion. So again, I suppose that goes to like where sometimes my ambition, that stretches my ability at the time. So I regret sort of building that in hindsight because it just took so long because all the angles are off angles. And I learned doing that there's the reason you make everything 90 degrees. It's just easier. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. The chickens that I had in there originally, I think they got out to close to 5 years old, which is quite old for chicken.
Yeah,
I
it
had,
is. Yeah.
a fox or something similar get in there, and unfortunately, it was pretty brutal. So yeah, I'm looking to in spring get a few new ones, put them in there.
Well, speaking of chicken, it's making me fiending for breakfast food now.
Well, Lon, what's your favorite video that you've created to date? I mean, I know you have some phenomenal videos all the way around, but if you had to pick one that you think exemplifies, the style or whatever it is that you enjoy doing the most? What video would it be?
Good question. I mean, there's definitely parts of certain videos that I really like. Uh, I put out a sort of like a trailer called Squad Myths and Legends, and I suppose the myth has actually turned out that there was actually going to be a follow up to it because it was a while ago.
Fair enough.
And so I don't know, Jamie, if you want to get that ready to queue up, it's a quick one too. It's like 2 minutes.
Legend of the missing video. Anyway, sorry,
Yeah,
I couldn't pass up the opportunity.
yeah. I'll send you the I'll send you the link. Here it comes. So this particular one, I quite like doing it. It's if I could do more stuff like this, it's very very fast paced. It's sort of got a lot of Michael Bay inspired sort of stuff going on. And it was also to a big thank you to a couple of people who, helped me out by sort of sponsoring the work I do via my Patreon. And so it was a chance to actually make a video specifically for them and sort of call them out. I did this. This is about a year old. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this, and it's probably my favorite. There's a few that are close second. You ready to play it, Jamie?
In Squad, if you think you run faster with a knife or unarmed, then you probably play marksman. In this Thanksgiving shout out to my legendary Patreon supporters, there was no BTR. It is not a generic term suitable to describe any and all vehicles. Squad better, myths and legends, coming soon.
Love it, man. It's awesome.
So yeah, that's probably my favorite to date. But there are other parts of other videos that I definitely quite like. But that was just so much fun to do. That's on Jensen's range, and I was just went a little ham. It started off with a fairly simple idea, and then sort of more explosions, more transitions.
Oh,
Yeah.
More?
just the
And a little thing that people might notice if you look at a few more videos, I tend to be cruel to marksmen. So early on there, the two guys
that is
actually
a
get killed.
fact.
The two guys that get killed by the 50 cal at that time when I made that, those were the marksman characters in Squad for those particular factions.
They do deserve it.
A little bit.
Ah.
Hey, Lemon.
I love grabbing the
Follow-
marksman kit
follow
with a
on,
210 ping.
Following to that, what do you think didn't generate as much noise or was not as popular as you wanted it to be? Like the video you made, you were like, "Man, I'm really excited for this one," and just didn't really catch on.
Dynamic direction. So I was asked to do a video for dynamic direction, and I spent about 2 months working on it, and it was full Karma cut. He had a squad mod at the time, dynamic direction, and I was expecting that to do well, and it did okay, but it was fairly meager. So a little disappointed for the effort, but I mean, none of my videos have really done anything to justify the effort.
Other than the ones you got paid for, right?
Yeah, those are okay, but I mean they're rare birds. I mean the basic video was 9 months in the making.
Yeah.
And not quite a solid 9 months, but probably a solid 4 months of that 9 months. And mainly because it was a passion project, and I wanted it to be good. So there was just a lot of redoing of things, and
Mm.
and there's a lot of things I really like about that video. Even just the challenge of doing something that's actually quite sort of dry as a topic, condensing it into sort of 20 minutes and trying to hopefully make it entertaining enough for people to get to the end of it and absorb some of what's contained in it. It's how to make maybe like a PowerPoint more entertaining and sexy. So that was sort of something I'm really happy
The
with the way
hardest
that
job of all.
that turned out. Yeah. And Morgan actually's got a starring role in that particular video. So I don't know if we can get that pulled up, Jamie.
Which
It'll be,
video is that one again?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, well, you're in a few, but you did some voice acting for
Oh,
sort of
that's
the
right.
cutscene in
That's
Basic.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that one.
So perhaps we can play that. It should be like the second chapter marker, mostly on the Basic video. Do you need me to send you the link?
You got to call him by his given name. You don't call him by the name that you want to give him. It's his given name, which is Jamie. Okay.
Is that
You
Jamie
treat
with
him
a
like a
Y?
Jamie. You treat him like Jamie. Okay.
Yeah. He slightly differently trademarked Jamie. We couldn't get the
He is the legally distinct Jamie.
That legally distinct Jamie. Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, he's a Jamie with an EY at the end. He's not IE. All right.
The Basic video, I believe, is the one he said.
Yeah. Do you want the link? I can give you the link if you like. Okay. Yeah,
It's the French E as well with a little flick on top of it.
Yeah, it's like third chapter. Actually, I think it might be the third chapter. Now I think of it. Yeah, third chapter. Oh, maybe it's not. So if you scrub it back to the left, further back left. Yeah, earlier. All right, just after that. Yeah, perfect. There you go. Perfect.
Bravo 2, get set up to engage south.
Roger, moving.
200 meters, 4 infantry on the rocks. Scrab, I want you to take the eastern targets.
Roger, I'm on it.
Deployed. What bearing?
Bearing 183, range 200, 2 times targets.
Seen. Got the one on the right.
Roger. Scrab, you got the eastern targets?
Affirm, I see him. Standing by.
Squad lead, Bravo is set. Are we weapons free?
Bravo, you are weapons free.
Copy. I do a couple
Hold your
videos
fire.
on racing.
Clear back blast.
On my command.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I suppose I'm doing that now just for the racing of the
Open fire.
We're taking fire west. Squad lead, contact west, 600 meters, Matby.
Yeah, you could probably pause it there.
Effective
Jamie,
communication.
before I get shot in the face again. Oh, too late.
Jamie. Yeah, I get frustrated trying to do like a little montage for only like 4 minutes, and it's like, oh, this will be easy. I just need to fit the footage of 2 minutes into the song, and it's like, yeah, cool. 7 days, 9 days. Fuck.
It
Can't
actually
imagine doing the 20-minute ones.
it's crazy how tedious it is, man. Like it's almost like a wall you got to walk through every time. And it was Assault, who's a well-known guy around here. He said to me the same sort of thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's just too tedious doing all that. He's right. There's just a lot of keyframing of things and just tedium in order to sort of get to the final output. Yeah.
So trademark.
Very reasonable.
So that there was
Right,
a
I've
voice
also-
acting. Sorry, go ahead.
I've also fixed Harmless's name in Discord, so everybody knows who he is now.
Perfect.
What what kind of inspired you to kind of delve into this and as more than just a passion project? Is it just because you really enjoyed it, or because there's things that everybody enjoys, but then there's things that people try and monetize. And like, what made you decide to take the shift from just doing this as a hobby to doing something that you potentially could make money at?
I think, well, the money aspect is really just to justify the amount of time doing it, right? Like that would be great, and I suppose that's everyone's dream to do something they love doing and get paid for it. So I'm still still sort of chasing that. That is the dream. But yeah, the transition into sort of like going sort of crazy on it. I think really it goes back to part of the reason I got involved with SquadOps is just that sort of cinematic nature of what we were doing, and then the thought of being able to sort of like recreate that in a way that you know could then be shown to others, and then you start learning some of the software and getting ideas, and it's fun too, right? I suppose TLDR, it's tedious, but I do enjoy it. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
fun. I enjoy doing it. Yeah.
that's fair. That's good. All right, we're gonna back up a little bit in time. What did you do prior to retiring life here in Louisiana? What was I know you said you did some web development and things of that nature. What was your career like, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I mean, back in the early mid '90s, I started doing websites, and it was when there was a bit of a almost pre.com boom, and it was with my brother, my younger brother. We're in our late teens, and just started doing websites for little businesses near where we were, and very soon we were doing websites for sort of like known entities, and getting paid for it, and through to I suppose in the noughties, I stopped a little bit more of being on the tools, if you like, and more just in the entrepreneurship of it all. That's part of why I came to the US. We came here to sort of launch a new product, and sort of get funding in the classic sort of .com sort of sense. We were successful in that. Sort of ended up in Colorado Springs. So this is circa sort of 2012, and then things went okay there. We got funded, sort of got a team together, and then at that stage, my soon-to-be wife was from Louisiana, and she wanted to get away from all the snow and everything, and so I sort of tapped out of that, and was, I suppose, retired, semi-retired here for a few years, and I suppose more recently, inflation's been a thing, and you can't survive forever on a fixed income. So I've sort of got back on the tools. So currently now, as well as doing video work, I build apps and sort of oversee teams that build apps. So that's sort of a digital creator, with about 30 years experience. Master, jack of trades, sort of thing. Not really a master of too many of the aspects, but definitely a jack of all trades.
Gotcha. What other questions you guys have for Lon? I got a couple more, but does have anything else?
Yeah, do you ever like get worried that like I see a couple of times when people have this passion and they're like, yeah, once again, you should always strive to do something that you like, and then do what you like and get paid for it, and you'll never work a day in your life. But then you have other people who will sort of try take their passion, turn it into a career or a job, and they just end up hating it because the, I guess, demand or the frequency of which they're working now has ruined the passion. Does that ever get like fearful of that? And you're like, gosh, like I should always keep doing lots of stuff, therefore not one thing dominates and I guess drains you. Is that ever a concern?
Yeah, good question. I think my personality type though is to sort of like go full bleep. I would say full Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder. What wasn't Ben Stiller, was it? It was
It was.
Robert Downey
Iron
Jr.
Man. Yeah, Iron Man said that. But I tend to just go sort of 150% on something at the expense of everything else in my life, and so it sort of suits me. That's sort of I might be a little different in that regard. Like if I get paid for the thing I'm doing, great. And if I can't, I'm probably doing that thing anyway at the detriment of my electricity bill and all the other payments. So yeah, so to get something for it is it helps me out, because if I can't put that sort of all my focus on something, I feel like I can't be good at it, and I want to be good at things that I do. I suppose that's ego, but yeah, there's only been a few things in my life that I've been naturally good at, and pick up instantly. Most things, I've had to just smash away at like ridiculously, and making videos is definitely one of those things.
Are you naturally gifted at LawnDartz? Is that why you're in the name?
That's a good question.
Did you hear his question, Lon?
No, could you repeat it, please?
Oh,
Speak up, Fire.
were you naturally gifted at LawnDartz? Is that how you earned the name?
No. The name sort of harks back to the children's toy that was sort of banned in most sensible countries back, I think, in the 80s. And the reason I suppose I picked it, the reason I picked it, I suppose, is at the time I was doing a little bit of flight sims and what have you, so it was a bit of a description of my flying prowess. I would just lawn dart a lot. That's this amazingly cool scissor maneuver, and the train kept on hitting me, getting in my way. So I sort of picked it for that, and sort of hung on to it a bit. And the other thing really, I picked it for is I almost blinded my younger brother when we were kids by, we're playing a game of what we call in Australia Forcings Back. So I know Aussie knows exactly what I'm talking about. And there might be a similar version of this in the US, but typically you don't play it with a spear that you've made. And which was a bit of bamboo that we put some nails on the front of to weight it down so it flied nicely. Problem is that I managed to hit him with it, and just landed above his left eye, luckily, and he only needed like 10 stitches or whatever, but thought I'd killed him in that moment. So yeah, I suppose LawnDartz. That's sort of
Don't tell mum. Don't tell mum. I'll give you my chocolate.
I think mom's gonna learn about that one. I think after 10 stitches, I think the max mom can't learn about is 3 stitches.
Yeah, my older brother immediately ran, almost with glee, to tell my mum.
You wrap him up and drag him in the garage and just start suturing his wound closed with some fishing line and a barbed hook just to get him to shut up and the wound to stop bleeding. That's perfect. What's your favorite memory from Australia? Yeah, I'd still put the Elmo sticker for sure.
Favorite memory? Surfing. I think I miss surfing. I grew up on the northern beaches of Sydney, and so that's something I did a lot in my teenage years and in my early 20s. A little less as you get older. But yeah, I mean, here in Louisiana, there's no surf anyway, so I miss that for sure.
I mean, you go right behind some of the big cargo ships down the Intercoastal Canal and get some surfing, but that's about it.
I did some surfing on those roads down there after all those cane trucks been through there. Riding the curl.
Yeah, the roads down here are pretty nasty, that's for sure.
Gotta wait for the rift, mate.
Well, you've been to Australia, Morgan. What was your favorite part?
Drinking.
The one that I could say on Twitch or the other one? No, I really did enjoy the beaches. The beaches were really pretty. I honestly, one of the I don't know, one of the most awe-inspiring things was still going and seeing the Great Barrier Reef. Seeing something that large underwater and understanding that I was just seeing a small piece of a existence under a couple 100 feet of ocean was really, really neat. The outback was really cool. I was in the northern area up there. We went to basically a game reserve, and I got to do some hunting on some private property that was up there. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, no, honestly, the weather was not that much different than here. I'm sure you've kind of experienced that. It was hot and humid and sticky, but the culture down there is really nice as well. I found myself at about 1 o'clock in the morning on a beach, just kind of wandering down, drinking, an adult beverage, one might say, and kind of looking at the beach and kicking the sand, and this other guy was walking down the other side, and he offered me a beer out of his little, container of beer that he was bringing along with him, and that they're drinking. And then he's like, "Hey, we got a fire going on down here. You want to come hang out with us?" And we're like, "Okay." So they had like a little hot pot kind of thing sitting on top of like a little table over there, and we just hung out with about 10 or 15 people and had some beers on the beach. And you don't get that very many other places, so that was a unique, nice experience.
That sounds pretty cool. My favorite part was the legal prostitution.
Sure,
The unionized.
sure. I imagine that would
Union,
be
yeah.
on the top of your
Yeah.
list. Yes, I imagine
Yeah,
that
no
would be at the very
scabs.
top of your list.
You can
Yeah,
tax it.
don't mess with anyone that crosses the picket line.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's just
I
so
mean,
you
it's
can
actually different.
regulate and tax
It's
it.
a different kind of line.
Go ahead,
We,
Lauren.
we like to tax things, don't we? Don't
Yeah,
we, Ozzy?
we do.
So the more things we can tax in Australia, the better.
The alcohol actually got increased the other day. The alcohol tax, I think last year.
Why aren't you in the
That wasn't
streets?
fun. That's not fun. Well, I mean, it's. I think they can only probably do it another 2 times. Then they're like, all right, that's it. They're like, oh, well, how about? We'll put it back down, boys, back down. We found the sweet spot. But I mean, Australia's suffering from the same things everybody is: inflation, housing affordability. Yeah. Two-party political
Great white
system.
sharks.
Nah, they're alright.
Spiders.
Spiders, not so much. Drop
The
bears.
yeah, droppers. You watch out for the
there's a couple.
droppers. Yeah.
Yeah, at least your guys' possums are adorable. Ours are just demonic things that like to crawl out of the darkness and hiss at
Do
you.
not put that slander against the Great Virginia possum. All right, I will not sit here and stand for that.
I know that's what you
I'm
call your
pretty sure it
cousin, but I
wasn't
promise you
Mitchell.
that's not the same creature.
They were like somebody in the evolution department was like, yeah, I got like these possums. Like, whoa, one of them looks like a demon. Yeah, this one's going to Australia. And they're like, all right, cool. And they're just like, oh, where did I put it?
Sorry, I'm gonna switch my phone. I gotta make a trip.
A quick trip, one might say.
Yeah, it's 16 hours or so.
Another road trip will
Yeah.
keep you awake.
Going to Maine.
Mm,
Going to Maine.
quickie trip. Yes, call for a quickie trip. All right, Lon. Couple questions from chat, if you're ready. I'm gonna throw these at you one at a time. First thing off the top of your head, you gotta answer them. What's the thing that you're most proud of?
Oh crap! That's meant to be a quick one.
Yeah, it's quick. First thing off the top of your head, what's the thing you're most proud of?
Video. The basic video for SquadOps.
Okay.
And then a close second's your little stinger I did for you. Very close second.
I do like that stinger. I do have to say I use it all the time, and it's gotten quite a few comments. So
Oh, the SquadOps or the Captain Morgan one? Yeah, that one's really good.
yeah. Are you
the,
are you gonna are you
91,
are you gonna be willing to give us a little stinger for this 4Ops One Couch podcast now that you're a big time content developer creator?
Yeah, I think
you willing to
personally.
hook a brother up?
I think so. I'll need to figure out how to sort of animate a hand holding up a glass, looking at it and drinking it, something like that.
That's good. That's good.
Maybe there's a logo for the podcast, on the glass of the beverage.
Yeah, perfect. I like it.
And then that's the merch, and then we sell the glass for merch. Perfect. It all rolls in synergy.
Look at that.
All together.
Marketing 101, boys.
Yeah. Jamie,
All
write
right.
that down.
Jamie?
Next question. What advice does Lon have for new players in SquadOps One Life events?
Listen. Learn to listen to the comms coming in, the sounds of gunshot of vehicles. Just learn to listen.
I would have thought, don't take the marksman kit. You don't know what you're doing yet.
We don't have those. Very, very, very rarely do we have one of those in a One Life event. So that's part of the reason I like them.
All right. And then how are you doing in life today? That's from Whitesides.
Oh, good. I mean, I've I've got my own like little racing simulator pit sitting here in the living room. I mean, the trade-off was I had to lose the wife. So that actually happened. My wife told me she wanted a divorce 2 days after Karma had asked me to get involved in making this Bellum trailer, which was awesome for me, right? Like, paid gig, making a video, and then by the way, and yeah, so big life change, last part of last year. But I suppose I'm happy now. Back actually where I used to live, just around the corner. Actually, it's like about half a mile away. But yeah, now my living room is full of all my toys, so that's great.
Win some, you lose some.
Yeah, I mean, I'm old enough to know that you don't. You can get all morose about it and wallow in the self-pity, and goodness knows in the past I've done that. But just nothing good comes of it. So better just to get on, enjoy yourself.
Pull your bootstraps up and go back to work. I gotcha.
Yeah, I compartmentalize with substances. I feel it's easier.
Well, and women that have chaos on their chest, but anyway.
Yeah, and a crucifix.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Sorry, I forgot to mention the crucifix.
Yeah,
All right, if you had any advice to give to people watching the video about life, what would be your life advice for the day?
Have no
That
regrets.
advice?
Have no regrets.
Yeah, you're only as young as you're ever going to be right now. Have no regrets. Yeah,
I've actually got that tattooed on my neck.
All right. Anything else? Anything else you'd like to tell us for your part of the podcast here, Lon?
Well, I did bring along a video that I haven't published. Probably never will.
All right. We get a sneak preview of something that you're never going to show anybody else other than here.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably 2, and I'll probably keep the first one fairly brief, just to the opening bit, because it probably drags on, unless people want an extended break, and then the second one's about 2 or 3 minutes, so I might let that sort of play through. There's some interesting things to actually discuss in terms of the pitfalls of making videos about Squad, but I can maybe cue that up and share my screen.
Let's do it. I'd love to see it.
All right, let me get this queued up and ready to go. So actually, the background behind this video, sharing screen now, Jamie, so you can maybe pick it up. This will be at 30 FPS in HD. Let me know when maybe you guys can see the screen. But yeah, the context of this video was I could never figure out how to get the tank tracks in the Squad SDK to work. And so there was a lot of scenes I had in my mind that involved sort of, a tank doing something. And it would always look pretty silly to have this tank look like it floating in on tracks that aren't moving. Anyway, so 3 years into it, and every sort of couple of months going back and looking at all the blueprints and the code and the SDK that drove the tracks, it finally dawned on me how to do it. So that was sort of the reason for making this particular video that I'm about to play. And it's about the same time in Squad. So this is back around about version 7, where the RKG3 anti-tank grenades have been released. Those are the little grenades that sort of have the parachute on them. So I thought, well, maybe I'll make a video that sort of goes into a little bit of the history of those types of thing. But what I'll play here is just probably the first 2 minutes of this video, and I'll get some comments from the Brains Trust here, and then I'll play the other video that I've never really published. All right, so I'll hit play. Let's see, audio's on. Yep.
RK G3 is
Yeah, so that's about, oh goodness, it could be a year and a half old. What do you guys think?
I like it. What was the
Groovy.
capping point for you getting the tank track? What did you find the secret was?
Well, because it's about a year and a half ago, I might be a bit fuzzy on those details, and also because it took me so long, I might not want to share that so readily.
Fair enough.
It's basically a couple of checkboxes. What it boiled down to, a couple of checkboxes, a couple of really simple settings on the material. So let me, if my screen is still sharing, I'll go back to the tank, which is here. All right, so I'll go on screen. So the wheels spin, no problem, but these tracks would just be stationary. That was the problem. And there's so many classic tank shot angles that I wanted to do. Like in this one, there's a few, like this shot of it rolling by, hits the mine, it sort of, tracks come off. Maybe it's a different scene with, the ground rumbling and shaking, and then the tank sort of tracks come to view, which is a bit of a cliche. I wouldn't be inventing that shot, that's for sure. But in order for that to look good, you need the tracks to animate. So I always thought that maybe the animation was like sort of, if you like, more physical, although it's all digital. And so I struggled because I just didn't realize it's actually a material in Unreal Engine that's doing this animating. And with a couple of clicks of a checkbox, that material got switched on properly and it started working. Definitely not worth the 3 years sort of, off and on trying to get to work, which I might have, come across that a little sooner. There might have been, I might have a tank channel. But yeah, that was sort of just something very simple. And that's actually why doing stuff with the Start Industries was so cool, because I've literally got on tap sitting with me in the Discord channel working, every day when I was doing this trailer, like the guys who actually build every facet of the game, from the environment artists right through to the programmers and everything in between, the animators. Like we had some mocapture with mocapture suit. We didn't end up using a lot of it. But yeah, just to be able to sort of like say, hey, there was actually a shot where a grenade gets underhand tossed into that skull and bellum that got cut because it was maybe deemed to be too cinematic and not necessarily what was going to be in the final gameplay. But I had a lot of input and collaboration with the animation guys who as I'm sitting there saying, no, I need the hand a little lower. Maybe the knee should be doing this. And you just don't get that level of access, obviously, with the Squad SDK. So yeah. So that's in contrast to something like this, where I spent 3 years trying to figure something out. Because yeah. Now the other video, I might just quickly queue up. I should be able to hit the right. Right. So this other one that I'll play, which will be this other window.
I just want to point out the tension that you created at the beginning with the dudes hiding in the trench was really good.
Very Viet Cong, bro.
I also had the idea because everyone's got who's been around this place long enough has an op they've written, right? So I've got an operation that I've written, and it sort of involves like an ambush on a Russian convoy, right? So I half had in the back of my head when I started making that video it was maybe sort of like a trailer for that mission. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did Fat Man Down, I think 2 Christmases ago, and I had the video trailer from was a really kind of campy Mel Gibson as the Santa Claus, but he was, he's gone a little postal, one might say, and I use that as the kind of the essence of the operation document, and they were supposed to play it before. Yeah, the lethal Santa Claus, exactly. They were supposed to play it before the operation.
Mel Gibson's Santa Claus.
Exactly. Yeah.
I killed Santa, if you recall. I killed Santa.
I do. You not only killed him, you gave the order to kill him, and then you shot me summarily in the back of the head. It was good. It was good.
And then the other guy was the marksman, right? This is one of those rare ops where there's a marksman mechanic. So there was some criteria. If you achieve it, you get that person. Someone gets to swap to the marksman kit. And I was on the enemy team. And as is always the way, if it's a friendly or if it's the high HVT who you're not meant to be killing, I just sort of flick shot 2 rounds kill Santa, which I was upset about in hindsight because but then learned I'd killed the marksman, which I was in pure joy over. So yeah, I killed Santa. I remember that. That's a good mission. It is a good mission.
Wow.
This video that I've got up. So this one again never really been released, and the reason was that I was going to make a video all about scouts and sappers. All right, because I thought at that stage in squad I was playing like engineer, sapper, scout all the time, right? Because like I go around, put down mines and blow stuff up, etc. And at various stages in my squad career, you know, I've focused on different weapons platforms and systems, and I suppose, as I said before, I tend to just, you know, play that thing religiously. So I was in that phase with scouts and sappers. So I thought I'll make a video about it, and so I did a whole bunch of research. And interesting here, the opening, I've done it in the style of, you should be able to pick it. Actually, I'll ask questions at the end. If you can pick what the opening homage was to, you should be able to. But I go through a section that will probably drag in the middle. All right, so if anyone wants to go do a toilet break, that would be your moment. And then I promised you the last minute or so is where I'm sort of attempting to be funny. And that's actually something that's quite scary to do creatively, right? The advantage, I suppose, in a video is you don't have to do it live. That would be like terrifying. I don't think I would ever want to do that. But yeah, in the video sense, you sort of like, okay, you're trying to be sort of funny. And I suppose, you know, this is a bit of an attempt to get views on my YouTube channel. But it'd be interesting if you guys find the back end funny at all as well. So I'll maybe hit play on this. And as I said, like there's a middle section. Feel free to take a bathroom break if you want during that. All right, I'll hit play.
Must be something.
Oh, Black Hawk Down.
This Austin Powers?
And these names at the beginning of this are your
In squad, sappers
Patreon
replace
supporters,
scouts
right?
with insurgents and militia factions, with some minor changes in kit loadout. In all other factions, the role is referred to as combat engineer. As such, I am generally going to be using the terms interchangeably, except when discussing specific squad roles. Sappers are usually trained and equipped to serve as provisional infantry, fighting as such as a secondary mission. Their duties facilitate maneuver support, defense, attack, survival of allied friendly forces, and impediment of the enemy. In the United States Army, sappers are combat engineers who support frontline infantry. They have been a decisive factor in every war in US history. Elsewhere within the Western sphere of influence, they are also referred to as pioneers or military engineers. The term sapper is derived from the French word sap, a derivation of the archaic French word for spade. The name became connected with 17th century military engineers who would dig covered trenches that allowed them to approach the walls of a fort that was under siege. The trenches and tunnels they dug were called saps, and the troops who dug them became known as sappers. It was dangerous work, and the life expectancy of the sapper performing such duties on the battlefield was not particularly long. In a broad sense, sappers were the absolute experts at demolishing and or overcoming fortification systems.
Holy cow. Mustafa, don't... Oh my goodness, what a mess. That wasn't your mum you just dolled, was it, Musty?
No.
Alright, buddy, we can't have this happening again while we're in filming. You know what Steve's like?
Fuck Steve.
I don't want to have to confiscate your phone.
Don't take phone.
Understood?
I'd be good.
Thank you. Alright, let's get on with the show.
As Mustafa just showed, having a devious streak and being quick to act can be a real advantage when playing sapper in squad. You get a lot of interesting items in your kit, but we will save the more advanced stuff for later. Engineering competencies in real life are modelled in via the speed at which sappers and combat engineers can use their shovel. Steve is going to demonstrate for us by finishing off this enemy radio.
Steve, the radio, Steve. Steve, like we talked about, I need you to dig the radio. Super easy job.
Alpha, Oscar,
Just
Kilo,
dig the radio, please. Oh my goodness, what a mess.
That is good, Lon. Okay, why didn't you release that one? I gotta know. Why didn't you release that one? That is hilarious, by the way. Number one. Number two, I gotta know why the release didn't happen.
The engineer kit got completely overhauled right in the middle of me making that. They went and took mines off of certain factions, IDs no longer. I mean, there's more there that I've sort of yet to edit into that, if you like. That's just all wrong. The script all wrong in terms of, this faction gets this kit, etc. And I've been, pardon the French, screwed like that by OWY. Not that it's their fault, but a couple times, and I suppose it makes sense because you think how many updates they had, say in the last couple of years, all these different factions, and they move everything around. So it makes it where, if I take 2 months to make a video and then it's out of date before I even release the thing. So
that's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, did anyone pick what their opening homage was to? I think I heard Ozzy came up with an interesting answer. Do you want to lock that one in?
Yeah.
So it's Casino Royale. Yeah, it's Casino Royale to keep, I don't want to keep everyone in suspense, but yeah, Casino Royale. So I do that in a few of my other videos too. There's little homages here and there to things like Mad Max or Reservoir Dogs. Some of that's just inspiration too, right? Like, oh, how am I going to open this thing? What sort of a scene should I do? So, I just go and steal it. Yeah.
I mean, somebody, I don't think filmmaking is one of those things where they're proprietary entrances and intros. It's all homages and.
Well, that's Tarantino. Everything, every second of a Tarantino movie is almost a homage to something. It's. So I don't feel so bad about the sort of Reservoir Dogs opening that. So my seminal video, All Marksman Noobs Squad Better 3. The opening scene of that is a direct homage to the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs. Obviously, you can't use the same music. Same with Casino Royale. So the music I picked there was a little Austin Powers-esque.
Well, that's
yeah.
The studio those dogs.
But I had a lot of ideas too for I've got somewhere that I couldn't find, but I did this scene where the Chinese sapper is running at a scout car and using his shovel to shield himself from the 14mm fire, right? Like, just trying to make I was going to make the point in the video that, hey, these shovels, they're super shovels. And I was going to sort of go to that sort of ridiculous sort of visual Austin Power-like sort of thing. So I was looking for that, couldn't find it. I think I've deleted it. Lost good. You'll have to take my word for it that was awesome. But yeah, it was just, they went and changed everything in this one. So I think, since then I've sort of thought, well, try and stay away from anything that's too specific, or I have to get my videos out quicker, but they just take so long. And so, yeah, it is what it is.
Well, I still think you should release it as it sits now. Put a little ending cap on it and ship it. It's really good, man.
Well, the comedy parts. What do you think? Yeah, what's the feedback?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
It was good. It was solid.
I think you could have just left it with just the dudes exploding. Would have been less work, and everyone would have had a chuckle. And then, or it just pans over to him, who then starts running away or something.
Hops in a truck and drives off.
Well, I had high hopes. Steve. Steve was a character. Actually, Steve, I think, asked me. He's a member of SquadOps. He's like, it's not based on me, is it? It's like, no. I had to pick somebody's name for the so that engineer that goes over the damn wall. He was going to be comic relief, and the idea too with that was to make it as a video exploring the roles of the sapper, and then have little episodes using the sort of characters that were in that opening. But again, I think that's definitely a case with my ambition outstretched by time availability. Yeah,
you need to do a video on the mortar and the border truck and all that stuff, and then do pay some homage to is it Guido that lost his entire squad on that rooftop that Boogie posts at least once every 3 months?
No, it was Razor, and he was
That was
banned from
Razor.
commanding. He was banned for
There you go.
commanding for a period of time for allowing it. But look at it; it's like one of the most viewed and loved pieces of folklore that we have.
Yeah, you need to do a tribute video to that. Do some mortar calculator videos. Guys, if you wanna see more of those cool videos come out, I posted LawnDartz Patreon link and I posted his YouTube link in the stream chat. Feel free to check both those out. I know Lon would appreciate any monetary donation you can send his way to help him create more videos like this. And then, of course, a like and a follow on his YouTube would be, most excellent as well. He's too proud to say it, so I'll say it for him. Don't worry.
He only accepts Bitcoin.
And shits at the legal brothel in Brisbane.
Do you have a card that you can? Maybe we get them as the sponsor. That'd be good.
Yep, that would be the one.
I'll do some research. I'll go out in Sydney and try to find if anybody will sponsor us. I'll have to have a bit of walking around money, so I'll talk to Culver later about that.
Well, it doesn't all cost money. I mean, I'm commanding tomorrow's Operation Nitro. So for those who just want to come and hang out and shoot at each other, don't forget to sign up on SquadOps.gg. It's one of the classic ops. It's very cinematic because typically it's set in sort of, I think, dusk on Korra. So it's a little dark, and it's all about explosions and what have you. Cool mission.
If you could take a little bit of a desire of the old Australian back to the Bellin team, please, for the love of Christ. I love it when the games do transition of time of day. If they do that, I would lose my mind. Like, you start an operation in dusk or whatever, and then by the end of the hour and 40 minutes, because it's been a stalemate, it's dawn, and it's like, yes, awesome every time. And people don't like that. Well, those are the same people who liked the OWI update. So
it's very costly, I think, as far as my understanding goes, when it comes to performance. But it is a thing in Unreal Engine 5, and indeed I used it to make the Bellum trailer. The lighting in that particular trailer is sort of like the classic lighting I choose, which is like the golden hour. You put the sun a little lower, so you get some god rays and what have you. But you can animate where that sun is, but it's a little bit expensive when it comes to performance, and then But these days, with modern graphics cards, and obviously the advances in Unreal Engine, that might be something. I know what they have is things like character effects on foliage, ordnance effects on foliage, right?
does the foliage have effects on characters? Like dudes walk through a bush and then it's like, ow, come out with a branch, and
I'm not sure if the sound effects that's that level of perfection, but
I'll
maybe that's what I should do is get you in to do the paint effects. Yeah.
If you bring out an Australian faction, I can do the voiceovers for that for sure.
I'm not sure, actually, to be honest. Like, you could torture me. I couldn't tell you what the planned factions are. But there's
no, I was doing a bit.
Other than the future ones, other than the current ones are the Rangers, Russians, and Rebels. Yeah.
We need
the Rangers
an Appalachian militiaman, because
what, circa 1850 or something, or what?
Something like that.
And so I'm still trying to figure out how. Well, anybody that's watching, you'll get a little snapshot into what may be coming for April Fools this year. But I'm still trying to figure out in the SDK how to mod a Mosin so that it doesn't have a magazine, but you could still load a single round. My goal was to create line fire from, like, say, Revolutionary War, Napoleonic era, musket line fire, and have our players line up and have to shoot each other with muskets in a formation line. I thought that would have been pretty funny, but
make them and is that inaccurate as possible? Slow as heck.
Like 25 meters. You're not getting you got a better chance of surviving than you do not when somebody fires at you. And then like 3 rounds a minute is what we're going for. Yeah.
Just dial back the animation reload, so it's just that slow bullet placement.
Exactly.
Jack up the muzzle effect or whatever, so it's just blinding you.
Well, basically what you're wanting it to make is like a puff of smoke from like a 40 mic launcher coming out of the end.
Yeah.
That's what you're going for.
Change it to like a 25mm, like an ASLAV, so it's just
Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh my god!
Just blinding, yeah.
Yeah. Still that one person in the back who still manages to not understand and shoot somebody. Oh, sorry, I thought we were firing. It's like, yeah, in a line. Commissar or whatever behind him when someone crouches. Nah, on your feet, bro. On your feet. No cowards in my army.
Mod and a whistle and fixed bayonets. Just the SKS bayonet where it flips out from the front. Yeah, be perfect.
Hell yeah. I think nothing beats in video games when you hear a good little whistle. Rising Storm was really good for that. You just like get all the dudes together and somebody be like, "All right, boys, bonsai," and then somebody just. It was such a good game.
No heck.
Yeah. I need to play the new update of Squad 44 Pacific. Meow.
When did that come out?
I don't know if it did come out or if it's in the dev or not the dev, the test bed thing, and they rotate it through.
Yes.
They keep teasing it.
I have that game, and I obviously with the number of hours I have in Squad, there's not a lot of other games that I played while I was playing Squad.
Yeah.
But that was one of them, and again because of this community, really, because we did some One Life events, but at that point it was called Postscriptum. But every time I hop into Squad 44, I just feel like the teamwork's not there. Like the communication, like people don't talk. Squad leaders just pick the role so we can have like the better weapon. The guy who's got the radio is like picking it because he's got the better weapon and he's off in a completely different map to the squad leader. So that seems to So the only talk you hear is those two screaming at each other. Like it's just I love the gameplay though. The lethality of it I really like. And obviously it's similar to Squad, so it's sort of easy for me to pick up. Whereas I've tried Armor.
When they picked it up,
it hurts my fingers and my brain.
They picked up the company, as you just said. Like, I mean, I think we're 2 years away from them being like, all right, we're just gonna roll it into one package. If you want to play this, just buy like the little DLC thing, and you like click a button and it switches over to the Squad 44. Because there are definitely some really cool mechanics. Like the tank mechanics are really nice. I'm a huge fan of like, I don't know if I got that guy. It's like, well, you hit it with a tank shell and I saw a leg fly off. Trust me, you got that guy. And he's not getting back up.
That guy's not going to make it.
He's not gonna be
jumping out of planes for a starter is also fantastic. Like if they ported that into like some missions in some maps or some layers in Squad, where it's like invasion or whatever, it's like the first objective, everybody has to jump out of a C-17. That'd be tits. That'd be awesome.
We had fast ropes in, I'm going to say 2018 in someone's mod that we trialed. Yeah, I think it was 2018. We had fast ropes.
It was 2018.
And coming out of, I don't know if we had the Black Hawk. I think it was just whatever the first helicopter was, the Russian one maybe. Might have been the Black Hawk.
I think the first.
No, we had them in the Black Hawk.
And the Mi-8.
Yeah.
Because the two helicopters that came out with the Mi-8 and the Black Hawk, they're iconic.
And you remember when the helicopters used to jank all over the sky and kill everybody's frames, looking at them. So, I mean...
Yeah.
They're better in Squad, but fast ropes. And do you do parachute? Morgan, you're an ex-military guy. You would have the expertise. Wouldn't you? Do parachutes a good idea out of a helicopter?
Yeah, you can do them. I mean, it's not ideal, but I mean, you certainly can. It's not a fun thing to do, but you definitely you could make that choice and that decision for sure.
I mean, I don't know, but there's something about those rotors going around that makes me think parachutes, rotors spinning around, bad idea. But you don't obviously.
Well, you actually
because you're jumping out away
you actually go
from.
straight down.
Yeah. It's not like you're
It's like a
going. So the rotors are above. It's not like you're going up into the rotor. You're falling out of the helicopter like this. If that makes sense.
And it's also different as well because like with a plane, it's going like across, and the dude's like, and then but he's still sort of going that way. The helicopter's like straight down.
Yeah.
There's no momentum other than you going down.
Oh, because the speed's a little different, and therefore the. All right, that makes sense,
Yep.
man. It's like
Yeah,
physics
and
now.
So it's like snappier.
This is like
They
physics.
actually do. So you can do static line out of some of the larger helicopters as well. Like the Chinook, I believe, has a static line operation. The Osprey, I've done static line out of the Ospreys back in the day. I think they do them out of the Blackhawk, maybe even.
Oh.
Well, yeah, the Sea Stallions.
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen it. There's like a bar they get, and they like just put it across the
Yeah.
floor, and they put the hook up the static line.
Put the hook, and then as you hop
once
out,
again,
it just pulls for you. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like jumping out of a maybe an Osprey is probably fine, but the other helicopters, it's like you're not really getting the benefit of the parachute system because you're only going to be kicking like what a Chinook maybe to like 15 guys with all their stuff, and a Black Hawk like I don't know 8 maybe. Whereas like a full C-17 or a C-130, it's like cool, we got a million guys out, and at the height you have to use static line as well. At that point, the helo, it's like, well, just land, right? Oh yeah, but once the helicopter gets shot, it's like, well, what if those guys get shot?
Yeah, I thought the Chinook was larger. They're up to 55 troops, but they typically are about 36. So I mean, it's not exactly what you can get out of a plane, but it's also not absolutely terrible. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's just the like what like I would rather land the helicopter, get everybody out, than be like, all right,
sure,
everyone jump.
Is it more like
especially
a special forces thing than the fast ropes? Like I suppose Black Hawk Down, right? Like, but that's obviously all the doctrine. But is that like?
I mean, it's not something that you're going to train to like. A National Guard unit probably isn't going to train to static or to fast rope, but anybody that needs to do rapid insertion is going to.
Anybody who works with helos, so like, you have the infantry units, or whatever, even if it's just grunts or whatever, and it's like, all right, we're operating out of helos, and they know they're going to be doing that over an extended period of time. It's like, all right, cool, let's train on fast rope because it's just another thing we can do if we have to. Maybe they use it, maybe they don't. Maybe it's like, we want to get a little bit closer to whatever we're trying to hit, and there's thick canopy that we're a bit worried that the rotors might clip, but we know we can fast rope down with a 90-foot rope. All right, cool, use that. Let's do that. And then maybe they don't have to hoof it as far. I mean, 9 times out of 10, just blow it up with a bomb, and then send the helicopter in.
I mean, that's what I'm looking for ideas for next videos. Is probably like content originally from my channel is almost this. It wasn't really meant to be maybe squad specific, but more using the squad engine to get the footage.
Well,
so I'd like to do some videos on like helicopters and maybe the various doctrines of fast roping as a for instance. Yeah.
Well, then definitely do that because fast roping is sexy on camera. It's very sexy.
And there's some techniques that it's the interplay between the personnel coming out of the helicopter and the pilot and the crew chief that is like the dynamic portion of it. Because what most people see is helicopter comes in, goes very stationary, and then the people fast rope down. But when you get really good at it and you have a really good pilot, you got a really good crew chief that can call out target as you're coming on, that helicopter can be coming forward. And the way that they shift their momentum, the helicopter can pitch up and swing the line in as the first guy is coming down the line to land on top of the roof. And the whole chalk just comes down the line. And the weight of the personnel keeps it perfectly pinpointed exactly where it is. And so the helicopter only has to stay stationary for a second or two before they're able to pitch rotor forward and then continue moving. So it's almost like they didn't stop, and it's really hard for the enemy to pick up that, hey, these guys actually went stationary here. They're probably dropping troops off.
That must require so much practice and coordination. That's cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do it 1,000
Oh, yeah.
times, right? So, and that pilot's
repetition.
doing the same maneuver 1,000 times, right, with the same group.
Yeah.
Yeah, according to
The
my
other
experience in Rainbow
thing
Six,
is,
it's pretty hard to do.
yeah. Well, my experience is playing as Fuse and getting 6 kills and being an absolute legend.
As
That's
you
a
do.
kill the hostage joke for any of those who don't know Rainbow. Yeah. But the other cool thing is that I'm pretty sure they ported over all the assets from 44 into Squad and sort of like synergized it to make it the same thing. So, I mean, I don't know how, but you could probably dig deep and find the parachute deployment stuff for Squad 44, and you can probably jerry rig it and then do regular troop static line deployment stuff with the U.S. Army dudes or the Russians with what
I feel
the fictional,
I feel
the now fictional VDV.
I feel fairly confident in saying that we have done some of that with our own modding group, right? Rosa, I believe, has some of that stuff already done, right? Like her and Death Ripper, I think they have a C-47 that kicks people out, or maybe it's a 130, but it's basically a static thing that flies in the same path as the UAV, and it works as a static line. So as the people are, as the plane is flying over the drop zone, it just automatically kicks them out. The parachute automatically deploys. It's not steerable, so it's like an actual static line parachute. And instead of having the ability, to potentially lawn dart to the ground, it's an automatic deployment, so you don't have to worry about, player characters, accidentally killing themselves. So
the
Well,
old Battlefield that used to happen. You have to hit 0 or something to jump out.
There'd be an
Just jump
RNG generator. There'd be an RNG generator, right? Somebody has to
it's like 1 in 1,000
we
the
did that,
parachute fails. But
Yeah.
then you got to make the
we did
fails
that-
be different. So you get like the cigarette where the parachute's just a straight line. You get the Mae West where it looks like a pair of tits because the line gets wrapped over the top. You get a
line
twist.
over.
Yeah, you get a little twist. You can have all sorts of
You gotta get one as
faults
well
and failures.
where somebody else gets out a little bit quicker than they're supposed to, and they get wrapped up with the other guy.
Yeah, just like stuck in his
the guy
canopy.
Who hits the ground first.
What's that called? The
The
Diddy?
guy who hits the ground first takes more damage. That's called didn't pull away. The other cool thing is you could do, because the failure thing is actually pretty funny. We did that in Armor, and we made it a 1 in 10 chance. And then one time we did it, and somebody was like, "Oh, my parachute didn't deploy when I tried to open it." Or he's like, "Yeah, it deployed," and then it cut away, and like I couldn't. It's like, "Oh yeah, you have to then use your reserve." He's like, "How was I supposed to know?" It's like, well, fair enough, but
Yeah, all he
you're a
needed to
lesson
press
now
was
to everybody.
all he needed to press was Shift Alt and rub his belly and press delete 3 times. Like what? Noob.
Well, it's like alternate between the Q and E key, so your character's like, you're kicking your feet, right, to get that parachute to untwist.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
that's
Yeah,
that's what you're
That's how
doing.
you do it?
That's what you're doing.
Oh,
So you
Yeah.
train-
So
you-
like
you
if
train for the
so if
Mae
you're
West.
no. So if your parachute if your lines get twisted, right? Basically, you'll have a cross or you'll have a nice big wrap. And essentially, what the Jumpmaster tells you is you have the rest of your life to unfuck the situation that you're in.
Yeah,
And what he means by that is you're going to sit there and you're going to bicycle kick, hoping that you get your body to turn enough that it untwists itself so that the lines don't rub against each other and cause friction, and the parachute will deploy the proper way. It's a
great when
terrifying
you're on the
experience when it
ground.
happens.
Wow.
When someone's explaining that to you, are you paying 150% attention to everything they're saying? Because I would imagine
No, because you're 18 or 19 years old and you go, "Fuck, whatever, old man."
I'm not gonna die, loser.
Yeah. Oh, what hearing probe? I don't need that. And then 6 years later, for fucking 3 hours out of a day. Like, damn it! I probably should have done that.
Only 3?
The best as well when you see them. Yeah, well, that was just hyperbole. The good thing is when you see it on the ground, somebody does it, and they kick, and then they realize they're kicking the wrong way, or like they're generating momentum with the twist.
Yeah,
so
the wrong, and it's just making it more twisted.
Yeah, and they panic. And you're just
How
like,
do you practice that? Or do you just have to remember what the dude said and really focus on what's going on? We're like, how do you practice
No,
like that?
you'll do practice like drills, but then like when it happens, it happens. And most times when people jump, the first couple of seconds, there's supposed to be drills where it's like, yep, count to 4, look up, is my canopy okay? 9 times out of 10, people are like, oh, I just jumped out of a fucking plane. Ground. Yep. Wait, no. Oh, okay. But that's it. And then they'll see, I'm kicking the wrong way, kick the other way.
I've bungee
It's
jumped.
like, yeah, it's sensory overload.
And it was white noise, yeah. Like the dude's talking to me up there. He's telling me count down, blah blah blah. And I thought it'd be clever and do like the Sigourney Weaver aliens, sort of like sort of turn to face where I come from and arms out and across and just go backwards, which was super cool for the first half second until you get past that like, point of tipping, and then it was just white fucking noise. I don't know. And then I was like coming back up in the air and getting weightless and wishing I hadn't, spent the money and done it. But I can't conceive of what it would be like jumping out of a plane. But my guess would be what you were just talking about, white noise. Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is they say not when I've done bungee jumping before, just to do it, but they say not to cross your arms in front of your face because when you stop, there's a really good chance you're going to punch yourself underneath the chin.
Oh,
keep say to keep your arms by your side or above your head, but anyway, that's there's the autism for the day. All right, moving on.
I mean, I would always suggest for people to do parachuting. Even if it's a tandem, do one. You'll find, I think, that the scariest point will be before you get out of the plane, not when you get out of the plane. When you get out of the plane,
yeah, it's the anticipation.
Like, it's already happened.
Sure.
It's out of your control. It's like, I'm either gonna do the right thing, or I'll do the wrong thing, and then I have the rest of my life to figure it out. But on the plane, when it's ramp and noise and just fucking sky, so you're like,
I've got a video that's a segue to this, and I suppose it goes to sort of like squad and various features and things like it must be able that they could build in these mechanics to the game. But I have a video that I made. It was about the M27 infantry automatic rifle, but I had a scene where a helicopter gets hit by an RPG and they sort of land, and I wanted like some cool looking dismounts. And this is sort of where I just didn't have at the time, especially the technical capability to do anything like fast ropes or whatever. So I'll be interested to hear your astute military opinion of the dismount these guys do. All right. So maybe I can share screen, and we'll have this as the last thing that I'll share with you for the evening. But I would be interested in what you think of the tactical dismount that I came up with. Jamie, you ready to pick up my my screen? Make sure we got audio.
Legally trademarked, different Jamie.
Yeah.
It's a Jamie with the accent above his E, the little triangle. Yeah.
What's that called? Is that an umlaut? No, that's German. What's
no? So there's the Agu, which is the one that goes up. I don't remember what that one is. What is the triangle? No, grave is going down. I don't remember.
Is that the carrot?
Anyway.
Let's see. It is called the circumflex.
That's a
entertaining and educational. SquadOps podcast number 2.
We do everything here.
So things that I don't like about this straight away when I haven't watched this for a while. It's maybe my web design heritage. I leave this banner, if you like, at the top of this entire video, and I think it was a huge mistake. So apologies for that. And where this is about 3/3 of the way through this video, I'm only going to play a couple of minutes, but we're about to go into this scene. The things I'm proud of this is the fly through that's about to happen from the helicopter. And then, as mentioned, I'd be interested even in chat too for anyone's opinion of the tactical dismount that I came up with. So without further ado, let me hit play.
Connoisseur and those wanting headshots headshot kills out to and beyond 400 meters will appreciate that equipping yourself with a good understanding of how to effectively and accurately determine range with the squad SDO and what the corresponding
Yeah, people
role
not
of the
knowing how to
position
use
is
scopes is
will
definitely
make you
very
deadlier.
annoying thing. Pretty tense. Oh no, all the boys.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the dismount?
All right, back it up. Let's take a look at it again here.
All right, I'll kill the sound, and there we go. The yeet.
It's a tactical dismount. I mean, you'd see that a little bit more in like helicasting, where the aircraft is above water and they're jumping out. But I wouldn't say it's terrible at all. Interesting for sure.
They weren't in the vehicle. They were sitting inside of it and walked out, I'm guessing.
It's movie magic. That's my advantage over someone actually making a game, right? So I'm cheating. I have all these dudes just piled up, like if you like, what would they be, leptons or hadrons? They're the ones that can occupy the same space, right? So we had a bit of physics earlier. We take it like further, yeah. So it's just cheating, right? Like imagine inside this helicopter, these characters are all just stacked inside on each other, and yeah, they all just sort of eat out, and you know, because of the camera angle, obviously you don't get that. But I wanted them sort of dismounting. That was the key bit.
You should have made like one fall over, because I mean, if the helicopter's got hit, is on fire, and they're like, all right, we'll hit the ground, remember to dismount correctly. You'd be like, get me the fuck off the bird!
Yeah, some guy's gonna drop to the ground and just start crawling, dragging dirt through his chest carrier. His sergeant's gonna be on the ground screaming at him, "Get off the dirt! Get to cover!" Yeah, no, it'll be great. It'll be great.
And he looks back to see where his battle buddy is, and he sees the helicopter that's on fire flying away, and he's just like, I should have fucking just been a painter or something. I should have stayed in school.
You need to add a touch more racism and a name calling to emphasize the realism in these videos. Lon, it's too clean.
Yeah, somebody needs to be like on the other side. It's like, fuck, I swallowed my dip.
But like,
or some guy hops out
racism.
and some guy, as he hops out, like he hits the ground, and because he didn't seat his mag well enough, it just like falls out of the gun and hits the ground and go everywhere. Yeah, you gotta throw some of that in there as well.
But it's friendly racism, not like competitive racism.
Exactly.
The limitation here on me technically is really the animation. So I tend to in Squad SDK use the existing animations and sort of try and sort of like cheat as best I can. With doing the stuff with Bellum, we got in an actual mocap suit, but those things are like,
okay.
If you need
$3,000 or
to motion
$4,000,
capture
right?
a bumbling idiot, I got you.
Yeah, I can play. I'm so good at that, dude.
But that's the technical thing that then you need to do, and then it's like can you animate the mouth and the eyes, and you're essentially at the end of the day heading towards something that's more realistic, and just makes it harder, more time consuming. But
that kind of leans into another question I have. What are your feelings on stuff like AI generated assistance for videos like this? Like if you get AI to generate a squad clip of a specific thing that you're looking for, is that something you would ever contemplate doing, or are you firmly against the use of AI in media?
Yeah, my knee jerk is utter disgust. dismay, despair. Yeah, I hate it. From the viewer's point of view, I don't know. Maybe the human can still contribute something that's unique and different, but I think it's going to mean that you really need to be a superstar in whatever it is that AI is competing with you, and then give AI a few light speed iterations. It's already like beyond what you ever can dream of doing. So I think there's a bit of despair there in this space.
I love how the
Yeah.
old conversation of AI used to be like, "Don't worry, man. AI is just gonna take all the manual jobs. Like, no one wants to clean, no one wants to do this." It's like, yeah, the first thing we did was take artists, writing, and other Hollywood jobs, and just be like, "Yeah, no, fuck yeah." We've actually
My,
taken voices now, video games. Like, oh, so all
yeah,
those
my,
artsy things we were supposed to do, you took them? Yeah. Do I still have to be a janitor? Absolutely. We haven't figured that out yet.
my take on it is a bit bleak. So apologies in advance, but I feel like if you look at someone like TikTok and the sort of videos that get the views and the attention span of my fellow humans out there en masse, it's a pretty low bar for AI. You know what I mean? I think in reality, like an AI can spit out a script, do the music, do the narration, make the video at light speed, minutes, depending on what sort of compute, minutes, a day, even if it's a day, so much quicker than what I can output content. So even if it's a fraction of the quality, whatever that quality is, that air quotes, right?
Yeah.
Something like TikTok, my faith in fellow humans and what they want. AI is going to meet 99.9% of entertainment needs, potentially, right? But I still think those humans out there who shine will still shine a little bit, and obviously when it's about money, it's about using the AI tools, right? So those who use the AI tools are going to have the early advantage. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, it's just going to eat everybody's lunch and so many different things, except maybe things that require physical presence. But we've got Elon making robots, so that'll almost happen at the same time. So yeah, my outlook from a movie point of view, from a cinematic point of view, is I don't know, like it's sort of like iRobot, but like the unhappy version of that. Yeah. Because I think
iRobot
humans,
being a very happy movie.
yeah, humans' worldview is we
Yeah,
already
I
sort of
was
put
like, yeah.
ourselves at the top of the food chain, right, above other animals. Like we test hair products on the eyes of other animals to make sure no human has to have irritated eyes. So I can only assume our starting view of robots who have AI, whether they are or aren't sentient, air quotes, is going to
Just need
be
the
pretty bigoted, and maybe rightly so, maybe wrongly so. I don't know. Maybe our evolution is just to make these things that do then colonize the galaxy eventually. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very bleak. My outlook's very bleak.
Yeah. I just hope they sort of started to hate each other. That'd be good. It's like the AI like Bollywood like script writer hates the AI Hollywood ones. Like, no, you're just rubbish. I think that'll be Skynet. It's just the AI TikTok versus the AI Instagram. And we'll just like, what the fuck?
Can AI make you laugh, right? And then you look at some US sitcoms back in the day with the canned laughter, and it's like, oh, well, maybe not me, but most humans, yes.
Well, I
You know?
mean, yeah, it doesn't need to make you laugh. It just plays the canned laughter so you know to laugh. Like, oh, that was a
Mm.
joke. Okay, cool.
Did you not know that we
Hate
were
canned
having a
laughter.
laugh track on this show?
Yeah.
But I think Morgan, good question, right? Like, so yeah, I think it's eating my lunch. Going to eat my lunch. It's eating my love of what I do. But a lot of what I do really is for my own sort of personal pleasure. So in the confines of still trying to pay the bills. So that's not to say that I can put infinite time to it, and that's I suppose where I get bleak again when I think about AI, where it's like but I'm sleeping and it's made a million versions of something and improved, So I don't know. It'll be interesting to
Well,
see how that
it's
plays
easy to
out, though,
make
right? We'll
money.
get to see it.
It's easy to make money with AI. All you have to do is have something where somebody wants something, you just deny it, like an insurance company, and then you just make money that way.
There's a bit of quantum
But then
about
probably,
AI there, right? Do you think like if you go back 10 years, everything was quantum. Now everything's like AI enhanced. So I think there's a bit of bullshit to it as well.
Yeah.
So its ultimate capabilities, I'm not sure.
I think a lot of it comes down to like investors, like getting them on the new buzzword of the day.
yeah, the the ticket trending.
Yeah, like
Money
Nvidia
making
announced
thing.
on their new thing that it's got AI subframes to make it even smoother. Like
Well, we used to call those things like
everyone who buys the
bots,
stuff
right?
is like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Things we used to call bots now are AI, right? They're not NPCs; they're AI now, but they're just as stupid as bots and NPCs were in the past.
Well,
That-
bots and NPCs is now a derogatory term that you call somebody who's playing like shit on a video game.
Oh, that's
True.
that's
It's true.
guaranteed hate speech. That's confirmed hate speech.
Oh, what's that? Your parachute didn't open? You fucking bot. It wasn't me. It was the Zeus. He changed the stats. Yeah, righto.
Quitters put bots in Squad, right? Like, so he was a guy who
Mhm.
actually reached out to me via my YouTube channel, and his knowledge of the Squad SDK is so much more, vast than mine. Talk about someone you should have on talking about such things. Really talented
Damon, write
animator
that
as
down.
well. Squitters. He has a YouTube channel, but he got
I've got
employed
him
by
in DMs. Don't worry.
yeah, he got employed by OWI, and part of what he brought to that, amongst the other talents, was the bots now that are on like the seeding layers. And it's interesting when you play against them. It's sort of like, okay, it's like shooting practice is really what it is, and they're actually pretty good. But then you realize it's like, well, they can be like so much better than me. It's just a slider. It's just a number you set in the SDK, and just to finish my point, in iRacing that I've been doing with my new simulator, there's AI cars in that, right? Inverted commas, but they're useless, right? They're slow. They like, like, so it's just where you put the slider, and clearly, my theories, even with my hobby, like video games, is that how do you know that the person you're playing against isn't just using an AI to control their mouse inputs and the keyboard inputs?
Yeah, I mean, World of Warcraft had that for years, and the way they got
Still
rid
do?
of it, I think, was yeah, they still do. Yeah, it was like, yeah, they put like rocks, and it's interesting, right? So it's like, hey, the shortcoming of the slider is like, all right, well, I can exploit things that the AI doesn't know about, and it's like, well, actually, the AI knows everything. It's omnipotent. Strategy games are a great example of that. And it's like balancing AI like that is exactly very hard, as you said. And how do you know? Like, there's plenty of players that have wall hacks, or is it just a bot?
In my day job, AI has actually already had an impact. So day job being, building apps, and I also teach people to use certain software to make apps with. And most of those different sort of sets of software, which are classified for those who care as low/no code app building solutions, they're starting to include AI capabilities, right? Where you give it a prompt and it'll make your app for you. And the marketing is cool, right? And you use it, and you go, "Oh yeah, I want to like a pets lost and found app," and the AI makes this thing in like 5 minutes. 5 minutes, right? Even if it sucks, right? It's 5 minutes,
Yeah,
and it's
right.
pretty close, and it's impressive. But then when you actually go to look at it, it sucks a lot. There's a lot missing.
Yeah.
And then the people using it, this is why I get to do coaching for them, realize that they know nothing about where they're currently at. Like they're like dropped off in the middle of their journey, not knowing how they got there or where to go. They don't have any skills. So there's still a gap there. But then I've noticed over the last year or so that the gap's closing. I mean, I use AI sometimes, for coding, because I'll just ask Gemini, "Hey, this is the function I need. What does that look like in Python? I need it in React."
Yeah.
My video editing software, DaVinci Resolve, has a scripting language, and so as does Blender, another piece of software they'll use, and I'll use
No, a lot of them are doing now for subtitles and stuff.
Yeah,
like
I'll
that,
use AI to give me the code. It's like, here's this thing that I'll do 50 times. Oh, hang on a sec. So from a productivity point of view, the big winners now are the people using those AI tools. But eventually I just don't see how it doesn't eat our lunch.
Yeah, right.
I'll be honest with you. When I did my last business development proposal, put it in front of 3 investors, and then actually a 4th one about 2 weeks ago. I wrote most of I would say 90% of what was on that business development, proposal. But when I needed specific information about what's the market share that this specific company has, to give some market-driven data. I used Chat GPT and then verified it, cross-verified it through Google and through a few other sources, Business Trader and other things, and it was very accurate. I actually use it pretty frequently now when I've got to write a professional email. No, that sounds terrible, but I'll use it to, I'll write a sentence or two in a paragraph, and then I'll ask it to expound upon, what I'm writing, and it does a really good job. Especially the more you use it, the more it kind of learns your writing style, which is kind of a little bit scary, but
Yeah.
it does a pretty good job of extrapolating, expounding upon the information that you put in there, and I've found it's very useful for minimizing the amount of time I have to spend doing something while also maximizing the return value.
We need
I gotta be
a.
honest,
I don't.
I spot those sorts of things in my workday. I can tell when somebody's copying and pasting to me
Yeah.
ChatGPT, because you get those ChatGPT vibes. But
Yeah.
later versions, or maybe the current version you're using, it starts to learn the style of the human. Maybe makes the odd spelling mistake on purpose.
Yeah.
Like it becomes all very like, and then you get a whole tender process where it's just two AIs. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you don't answer
that's
your
what I
phone
want.
anymore because Alexa is now AI enhanced and sounds like you. Like it just
That's
gets
what I want.
crazy.
But then when it's like, oh hey AI, make me a dog finding app or whatever, a pet finder app. It's like, oh yeah, sweet. Like, and then it like figures out like, hang on, like I'm not really getting the money's worth of the company, and then just starts actively making dogs go missing and stuff. Just like, yeah, I hired a Tesla car to come in, like through, and like what? It's
That's
like, yeah, like
a great idea for a movie.
yeah, yeah, but like
Pretty
it's like
sure
it's
that's
like
a Black Mirror
Skynet, but like it's like Skynet, but really inconvenient thing. Like it just keeps ordering Uber Eats to your house. It's just like I didn't.
Yeah, I'm like
Like I
80%
mean,
sure that's a Black Mirror episode.
probably is. I mean,
I've seen a couple of those Chat GPT interviews, Carson, where like the interviewee, like there's a pretty relatively famous clip that's running around where like the interviewee yells at the person to share their screen because they think that they're giving ChatGPT answers. So they have to like hurriedly get on there and share their screen to show them that they're not on there, and then it's just the guy's phone is like below the camera. The scarier one I saw, which it kind of is interesting because you've had two of them this week. Fair enough. The scarier one is where they're taking an overlay. Um, the premise is when they did a little deeper digging into where the IP address was coming from, this individual was coming out of North Korea. The it was an interview for a software developer in the defense system, and so they had basically taken an AI generated image where if you move your face or whatever the mask stays on their face. Well, they had basically put a mask on, for lack of a better term, in this image, and the guy picked up on it because he's like, hey, put are you using like a filter or something? Put your hand in front of your face, and the guy wouldn't do it. He kept like putting it next to his head. Um, it was interesting. It was an interesting thing, and the more I did a little deeper dive into it through, well, I say I did a deeper dive. I mean, you going through Reddit and looking at some source material that they reference. It was kind of referencing North Korea utilizing that as a tool to
you
gain.
were already on Reddit anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. But gain, information regarding our defense network and our defense intelligence agencies and things of that nature. So
North Korea?
it was fascinating. Yep.
I say that with the inflection, with the like. What? So what if they had that information? What's North Korea going to do with it?
Well,
Well,
the concept and idea isn't so much what they could do with it; it's how they could advance their own systems, right? So it's not that they can really do anything terribly against us. It's more that they could utilize that to advance their current network. Now, the guy that kind of did a showcase on this video, a breakdown of what this means and what it could mean, is his viewpoint on it is that the North Korean, software security defense network, and then conversely, the offensive side isn't capable of doing the things that we're capable of protecting against. But it's like looking at a spaceship, right? From outer space, from an alien, right? So if we look at it, it might be, 150 years in the future as far as technology is concerned for us. But the more you dig into it, the more you're going to be able to infer and see the things that we're doing and that we're protecting against, or the things that we're doing to be offensively capable against other people, could be a way for them to learn and develop their systems further.
But
If
why
that makes
North
sense.
Korea? Yeah, I good answer. Excellent in depth. I mean, but why North Korea? Like, wouldn't you just be more concerned about their neighbor ultimately? Like, what?
Oh,
Like,
for sure. But I mean, the individual in question, the guy that was doing
Rocket
the
Man?
breakdown and the deep dive, was that they pulled the IP address from this person, and it seems to have been routed from North Korea, essentially. So it's not saying that North Korea is the only one doing it, but in this case, this specific video I was watching, the guy said that this interviewee was found to have originated in North Korea.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
I
the
mean,
impact
China
of
would
AI. I'm not,
be definitely, a number one contender. Same with Russia, same with Iran, right? All those countries.
what's AI going to do? I suppose ultimately, like maybe the military version of these things is always more in advance of things that are available to civilians.
So
Even in
we already have that. We already have that. Ozzy and I have determined that every pretty woman that's in a U.S. or a military uniform that they put on Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok is definitely a military plant that's actually AI driven, right, Ozzy?
I mean, it has to be, because otherwise the alternative is that we're paying somebody a stupid amount of money to make videos and not really sell anything. And it's weird as well, because it's like, I'm a military member. Look at all the cool stuff I have. Link in bio. It's like, what was that? What was that last thing? Parachuting? No, something about a link? Nah, that's it. It's weird. Also, those women don't talk to me, so I don't think they're real.
They don't answer your DMs. Well, perfect.
Yeah. I mean, you say that all the time, just like
They answer my
random.
DMs. They keep asking me to join the military.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
do you want to fly the F-35?
You'll
It's
be
the Iranian
joined
military, but
sooner or
it's
later.
okay, fire.
Yeah.
Do you want to fly the F-4 Phantom?
Yeah.
Sign up today.
I mean, if Japan hit me up being like, "Hey man, we have a giant robot, but we need someone to drive it," I'd be like, "Look, I'm not a teenager, but I am an alcoholic man. I'd be fucking keen to go. I will drive. You want me to fight a giant lizard, dude? I'm gonna get lit and drive this fucker drunk. This is gonna rule."
All right, Lon. World War III happens tomorrow, and they say, you're going to be drafted, but you get your pick on what you're going to do. On the front line. Are you going to be a helicopter pilot? Are you flying a jet? Are you driving a tank? What is LawnDartz doing?
I'm already vaporized. I'm not far from Barksdale Air Force Base, in northwest Louisiana, which is, I would imagine, on the enemy's team's
Probably high up on the list. Yeah.
first strike list. Yeah, because it's where George W. number 2 went to, and it's sort of like got a degree of nuclear capability in terms of the B-52s, etc. That's stationed there. So I'm about 40 miles from that. So I would assume I'd get to see like a flash and wonder what it was, and that would be the end of LawnDartz.
Okay,
40
but
miles.
Best of luck to
Best
of luck to everyone else
presuming
in
that
the
you lived.
Holocaust.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Presuming
You're
that
out
you
of town at the
lived.
time. Yeah.
All right, not horribly burned and screaming in pain, but somehow like in an underground tunnel. So I'm like that kid in Terminator 2, right? That's me.
Yeah,
All right,
or the
cool.
guy from Fallout, the TV series, where you're just horrifically scarred and irradiated, and you're doomed to live life forever.
But
Yeah, you're
leading the
just a
resistance.
ghoul.
Leading the
What was
resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the UK movie about them getting nuclear striked? And it had like kids at the end that like couldn't speak like correctly.
I don't know. Anyway, back to the thing, Lon. What are you doing?
Threads.
Front line.
It's called Threads. Sorry, Threads.
I think I take a humanist point of view, Morgan. I think national boundaries and that sort of an exchange are the first thing to just go up and smoke.
That's true.
Like,
very true.
So I think just the people around you and surviving. So the old love thy neighbor concept, right? Like who's around me and who can I co-opt to mutual advantage. I think that's the world we're stepping into. I think it's Mad Max-esque.
You're gonna be so upset when Ozzy comes in full leather, wearing somebody's ears, being like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm cool, bro, but
But I think I
Honestly,
would
we
assume
just
like
lost water, dude.
I would assume that both teams' commanders have died, and hopefully their plan has been carried out by the 2IC. But in a nuclear exchange, there's no 2ICs. You know, like it's just the people you have around you and what you can do. Like so maybe it's just like back to the dark ages, and you're more concerned with your 100-mile patch than you are with what's going on across an ocean.
nothing
Yeah.
but E4, Zinc, and white monsters being like, nah, fuck that, bro. I ain't doing that. You have to. Why? Because the AI general told me to? That's crazy. What's he gonna do?
Well, the cyber
the other thing
warfare, you know, you assume that one side's going to jam the other side, right? So obviously, then whoever does that sort of wins. If there's that sort of reliance, at least wins in the short term, and then you get like the dystopian sort of resistance sort of thing, right? Like it sort of is like humans versus machine, but maybe it's humans versus the humans who have the machine advantage.
Yeah, I mean the not redundancies. Oh, I guess it is redundancy, but like automated redundancies have been a thing forever, like ever since the Cold War. Like, yeah, if you do hit us, the fucking missiles are flying. Yeah, I can absolutely understand or like imagine them being like, yeah, look, if you kill our entire command structure, we still have an AI that'll do everything. And I think if people knew that, like if that became like public knowledge, a lot of people would be like in those situations. I think be like, no,
Well,
fuck
that's what's
that,
meant to
man.
make us. That's what's meant to
Like,
make us like sleep safe at night, right? Mutually assured destruction.
Yeah.
When I was a kid in the early '80s, like the threat to me as you know, a 6-year-old or whatever in 1980 of a nuclear war seemed very real, right? Old enough to like see the TV, Ronnie Reagan giving cool speeches. Oh, that's the dude who I watched in the afternoon his cowboy show, right? Makes
That's a
perfect
Fallout
sense
guy.
when you're 6. When you're 6, that makes all perfect sense how the world works. But yeah, like nuclear war and duck and cover and all this. So it seemed very real as a 6-year-old. And then obviously as an adult, at some point in time, I understood this concept of mutually assured destruction. So as long as no one's crazy or makes a mistake, then we're all good. But then, yeah, if everything's happening at the speed of light or the speed of AI, if the AI then start to be making the decisions on these things, then yeah, I mean, the work I do in my day job, we had a server outage for a very important customer go on Wednesday night, right when I was squad leading an all event. So I was multitasking to the extreme there, like it's down. Oh, we'll look into that. Let me escalate that. You know? And then Rosie,
Yeah, I
yes,
mean,
continue shooting the 50 cal. But
Does-
yeah, I mean, it's
does
like
that-
the speed of AI in that, like it's scary. But I suppose we cross our fingers. I don't know, like I don't know how it would be set up at the top like that.
There was
like,
that big one that happened not too long ago where it was like Microsoft or Windows or something updated or got hacked or whatever and took like 50, like it took like an absurd amount of stuff down. It was last year and that was like just one.
Oh, that was Cloud Strife.
That's right, yeah. So whoever
Strife,
was like
yeah.
in charge of somebody else's stuff, they goofed it and then destroyed like the entire thing by accident. And it's funny because it does prove how like fragile the world is. It's like a rogue,
COVID
like
proved that.
that would yeah, true.
COVID 100% proved that.
Yeah, I think COVID also proved that if anyone's like, yeah, in the apocalypse, I'd band together and get all my like, no, you wouldn't. You'd stay inside, fucking wear your mask, and get Uber Eats by fucking every other day because you don't care.
I'd love
so
to disagree
jaded.
with you. I would love to give you a counter argument, but I think yeah, like toilet paper was the number one problem where I lived. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know.
Yeah, that came from us.
I traveled all through COVID. I don't know what your fucking problem is, Ozzy.
Well, that toilet paper thing came from yeah, but you traveled like because of work. But like all these people like
Yeah.
when the
It's
shit
fine.
hits the fan, I'm going out into the sticks before anybody else does. Like no, the shit would have already hit the fan, and the world's gonna go out with a whimper, not a bang. And like you won't figure it out until you're like, oh shit, okay, now it's happening. It's like no, it already had been happening. You were just enjoying
think it
Uber
was-
Eats and your 3 days off.
I think it was The Rookie,
shout out.
the TV show The Rookie with something Nolan. He's the guy that played on Firefly. I can't remember. Christopher Nolan, something like that.
This is the music director. No, the film director.
All right, well, who's the Nolan guy that I'm thinking of?
You're thinking of Dennis Quaid when he was playing as a
No,
pitcher.
no. I'm not. I'm thinking of the Firefly guy that was the captain.
Oh yeah, he's not Dennis Quaid. I can picture him, but I cannot tell you who he is. Great movie, Firefly, and I'm just sitting back here basking. In
And the
glory
TV
of
show
that.
was good too.
T.S. Eliot quote
Nathan
delivered by the Aussie
Nathan
Rookie.
Fillion.
Nathan
Fillion. So he's
See,
in a
everyone,
TV show called The Rookie. So in The Rookie, there's this episode where they're going to investigate an abandoned house. And they go to the house and they're looking around and they hear like noises coming from outside or coming from inside the house, but they can't quite figure out where it's at. And they go out there and they open up this tunnel and there's a guy that's been living in there for like 3 years since COVID happened. Basically, the premise is that COVID happened. He thought the world was coming to an end. He went down into his basement cellar, locked himself in there, and he's been living off of canned foods and MREs for like 3 years. It's an interesting concept and take on that because he didn't have outside access to the outside world. He didn't have TV. He was just watching DVDs and movies, and like he never came out. He's like, no, I figured the world was ending. I'd stay in here until I ran out of food, and then I'd go out and see if I could figure something out. Anyway,
crazy. So
an
3 years
interesting
he didn't pay
TV show.
taxes and nothing happened. That's what the Rookie
That's
said.
true. That's true. Yeah.
The IRS
Yeah.
wasn't like, hey.
He also technically didn't make any money because he was hiding inside of a hole. So.
But that house is worth something. That
what is
car
money?
is worth something.
Yeah, I'll let him.
What is money? What is money at that point, right?
Down here it's bottle caps.
The
It's
thing to remember though,
currency, but like it's going to be like Mad Max. It's gasoline, right?
Gasoline.
The gasoline. Yeah, that's true. The thing
Yeah,
to remember
so-
though, here in the
yeah.
States, 3 years is the length of time before they can take your house, seize your house for unpaid taxes. So that was probably the premise for the TV show. It's like, oh well, your taxes are due.
Yeah, boys, you get 3 years of free.
Wow!
After that.
Imagine that, dude. Police acting as a tax collector. That's great.
Hey, now you're getting too close to a dangerous subject here, Fire.
Louisiana's not
Why,
too
is there
bad, is it,
something-
Morgan, for tax? I
No,
think
you
it's okay.
have you've got the Homestead Act, right? So the first home that you own that's your primary residence, you don't pay taxes on. So it's not terrible.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty good, on the balance. Yeah.
I mean,
And
the income tax and the state sales tax is a little bit much for folks that make decent money. I mean, you end up paying like 14-15% in taxes just to the state, but
I come from Australia where we've
could
had a
be worse.
GST that we had to have for 20 years or something. So I come from like Aussie, I'll tell you, we've got a goods and services tax. And that's like on top of a whole bunch of other taxes from like different tiers of government that are on stuff that you don't even get to see. So, he mentioned, I think, pre-stream about, tax on alcohol in Australia going up again. And I shudder to think what it would be. But it's not just like one tax. It's like there's a GST and then there's a whole bunch of government departments getting in on it, the state departments getting on it. And so the amount paid is really quite high. So that's one thing I appreciate here in Louisiana, although that is a hidden tax. But yeah, it's not too bad. I like Louisiana.
It's not terrible.
Tax.
It's for sure.
And I am just still basking in the glory of Aussie's like T.S. Eliot quote there from his classic Australian education, ladies and gentlemen, that full display. Bravo. Slow clap from the. I love that. I did that. I did that.
T.S. Eliot.
I did T.S. Eliot. I
It's
think
too hard.
like in year 11 or something like that, right? Like I snapped back there. I was 17 again for a moment. Thank you, Aussie.
My favorite one to do is when you're having a rough day, and if you think they're gonna get it, is like you hit them with like, man, I feel like fucking syphilis pushing that rock up the hill, and they're like, what? Yeah, dude, fucking, you mean Sisyphus? Like, dude, I don't have a VD. Relax, man.
All right. Well,
For those
we're getting
of you who want
towards
to know,
the end of that.
Never mind.
It's fine. He doesn't need to explain himself. We're getting to the end of the podcast, gentlemen. Any final thoughts? Anything else you guys want to send to the audience's way? To be forever enshrined in SquadOps lore and history here.
In the near future, you will be replaced by AI, and it'll be fun. The AI companies will go to war with each other, and we'll all just sit back.
Well, there'd be BlackRock versus all the AI first.
Yeah, and society will be so jaded that no one cares. They'll be like, oh my god, AI assassinated board members from BlackRock, and everyone's gonna be like, do I have to go to work on Monday?
Nice.
Yes. I don't. I don't fucking care.
You get some thumbs up in chat.
Lon,
Yeah.
anything you want to
Oh,
share to the crowd here? Your final thoughts on the podcast tonight?
Yeah, I just want to tie it all together, right? So this is like some insight. So I feel like, what we've been discussing where this has all led to is the apocalypse, and SquadOps has been, for me, at least for the last 8 years, the preparation for the apocalypse, whether it be AI driven or by North Korea. But we're ready. Join us, and it starts your journey tomorrow night with Operation Nitro.
Oh,
There you go.
The perfect loop, bro.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on tonight. Again, we'll have another podcast in 2 weeks. Not quite sure who the special guest will be, but Lon, we certainly appreciate all of your time tonight. Thank you for answering all of our questions, showing some of your cool videos, even some that have never been seen before. I'm really hoping you still release that Sapper video, by the way. You totally should. And there was a lot of comments that said you should release it as well. Again, we got Operation Nitro tomorrow evening, along with another op on Wednesday and the mechanized assault course on Sunday. So come check those out. Sessions are on squadops.gg. And again, if you guys want to donate to LawnDartz' Patreon or check them out on YouTube, both of those links are also in the stream chat. All right, say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.